looking forward to seeing her, and I'd spoken to her on Monday. She'd rung me on the Monday afternoon because we had to pick her up. I was supposed to be picking her up in Manchester on the Wednesday. So we were sort of working out times, and then I was thinking, am I going to drive there or not? Because I don't know where I'm going in Manchester. And I'm talking about what she wanted to eat when she came home.
I got home from work because I left work early so I could go on the night out, waiting for her to say, oh, I've arrived. And I didn't hear anything, so I sat down and had my tea, just thought I'll wait. And turned the news on, it was ITV News, and heard there'd been a bus crash in France. And then I thought, oh, that's funny because Kat's travelling home today, but I didn't think it'd be her because I thought a lot of the ski seasons would be travelling home that day.
On the Tuesday, I'd gone to work, and then I got a message in the afternoon, come home quickly. And I was just about to come home anyway. I was marking books, and I never thought anything of it. It didn't cross my mind at all. And when I walked through the door, her dad was there and said, come in, there's been an accident. So I thought it was Carl who'd hurt himself, because the previous week, I don't know if Catrin said, he'd had an operation, and I'd been a bit worried about him being at home on his own in case he slipped or fell over, so I thought he was pulling my leg, thought it was that, and then he said, no, it's Catrin.
Tried to call her dad at home, and he didn't answer for about 3 times. And then so I tried to get in touch with Hannah, one of our friends who was out there as well, and she told me she couldn't say anything until she'd spoken to her dad. So I knew something bad had happened then. And finally got through to her dad, and he said she'd been in an accident. All we know is she's hurt her left arm. She's okay. She's gone straight to hospital, and they can't tell us anymore. And that was that for that day. And then it got to the next couple of days when we found out what really happened.
We had to phone. He'd been given a phone number to phone in France, the hospital in France, Grenoble. And we hadn't been given any details initially about what had happened to her. I suppose they didn't want to tell us straight away what had happened. And so we phoned the hospital in Grenoble, and then they said she was going to be taken from Grenoble Hospital to Lyon to the Burns place, to the Burns ward, Burns Hospital. And they said it was very serious. And it was actually quite difficult. I didn't speak to the person on the phone. Carl spoke to them, and what we got the impression was they said that her arm was they were worried about her arm. So from that we thought, oh, maybe it's just her arm that's hurt. Anyway, he gave us a phone number. Oh no, he told us that the hospital in Lyon would phone us later that evening. So of course we waited and nobody phoned. So in the end we were trawling through phone numbers in Lyon, because we didn't know which hospital it was. And we got through in the end anyway. We found out, and we spoke to one of the doctors on the ward there, and they said how serious it was, how badly burnt she'd been. And by then obviously we'd been making plans to fly out there the following day. It
was on the Friday afternoon when he had the phone call. By that time her mum and brother had flown out there, but her dad couldn't fly, unfortunately. He had the phone call to say how bad it actually was, and that she'd be in a coma for 6 weeks. And then he phoned me, and that's when I knew that's how, it was worse than it was. And then it was obviously longer than 6 weeks, and it kept going on longer, and then we knew it was getting worse and worse by the day.
To be honest, I didn't know what I wanted to know, apart from how bad is it and is she going to survive. I can remember asking what are her chances and being told that amount.
She didn't even understand what was going on. She was asking me why this happened to her, why she just thought she didn't deserve it to happen to her, and she was just confused. She still didn't know what was going on, really.
I was on the 2 seats behind the driver, and that's why I was I'm in the situation I am, because I was so close. The driver passed away from the accident. I remember screaming and shouting that because the coach was making noises, like hissing noises, and the noises you'd expect of a car on fire. So I wasn't really concerned about what had happened to me. I was more concerned about getting away from the coach, because it sounded like it was going to explode. Because at that point, obviously, the front had caught fire, but it hadn't fully exploded. So I was more concerned about getting away from there, whereas everyone else that was around me was concerned about the fact that all my skin wasn't on me. So once I'd got a bit further away, because they had to carry me by my arms and my legs, once I got further away, I then looked up at my arms and I could see I had like skin sort of hanging off and things, and my hands had no skin on them anymore, and I was sort of all different colours, like black and yellow and brown. And obviously there was blood everywhere as well. Everyone that was around said that when I passed out, my eyes just rolled back into my head, and they all thought I'd like died.
Catrin then spent the next 3 months in a medically induced coma in the burns unit of Wiston Hospital.
A couple of weeks into my stay at the burns unit after intensive care, it sort of set in what had really happened, and like the fact that I couldn't do anything for myself and I couldn't move. Like I couldn't even like bend my arms or use my hands. I think then it sort of took its toll as to what had happened, and then I think I started going a bit downhill, a bit. Started actually getting upset about it and things. There wasn't enough medicine in the world to stop the pain completely, especially obviously the burns stung still after all the skin grafts had been done, and I was having my dressings changed almost every day, and having my dressings changed was just excruciating enough, having to peel things off open wounds like most people would know, but everywhere on my body was horrible. So yeah, I had like that kind of pain, but also, as I said about before, the critical care neuropathy. When that happens, when you get back to a point of being like well, which I suppose I was, in the burns unit, your nerves start to grow back. So when your nerves start to grow back, basically they start from the inside out. So all my nerves started to work down my arms. So it started this way from the top of here. So it's extremely painful when nerves grow back. So if anyone would touch the top of my arm, it would be excruciating and horrible. But slowly, like it works its way down, and like then it would be fine for people to touch the tops of my arms. And the same with my legs. It started at the tops of my legs, and it works its way down. So the extremities, like your hands and your feet, is where the nerves grow last. So I've had a lot of problems with my hands and my feet because they've been so painful. And the only way to make the nerves regrow and to make, basically when your nerves regrow, you have to relearn textures and temperatures, and you have to relearn what things feel like and things like that. So I've had to, basically to get better, and in order for my feet and my hands to get better, I've had to go through the pain of touching all different textures and being in different temperatures of water and things like that. So that was very difficult, and that was probably my most painful thing. My hands definitely were my most painful thing. I like to just be happy about it, and I think positively about it, and I'm like, oh well, you know, if that hadn't happened, then I wouldn't have got on ITV this morning. So, you know, there's always perks, and I get a free bus pass now because I'm disabled, and I also get a disabled rail card, which is great. So I see it like that. I see the perks rather than, oh well, no, I can't do this and no, I can't do that. So I'd say mentally that's how I'm thinking about it. I've never actually spoken to a psychologist, because I had the opportunity to in hospital, and I said I didn't want to, because for me I'd rather talk to someone I knew about it rather than someone I didn't know.
I don't know what's going to happen in the future, what she wants to do. Originally she wants to go to uni, and she was talking about going recently, but I don't know now. I don't care now though. I think she's got a second chance, and I think she can do what she wants. I don't really mind what she does, apart from travel too far.